Hello, everybody, and welcome to FourWheelTech, a show all about automotive and automotive technology news. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we're going to talk about these 5 articles. Supersport penny farthing. What about those red and yellow dots on my tires? You want to do a vintage EV swap? I'll talk briefly about the 2025 Valkyrie Le Mans, and no spare, no problems. No spare, no problem. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
Oh, that's me. I am Mayor Watt.
That is you.
So we want to talk about cars today. It's a 30-minute show, and we've selected 5 articles. Each one is typically about 6 minutes or so that we talk about, but sometimes I vamp and run off the track. That said, this first one, sending me over the hedge, or whatever you want to call it, into pit row. This is the oddest thing that I've ever even seen as a title.
I think Over the Hedge is a kid's animated movie.
It is, but I thought it was a funny sentence. You know what I didn't do in the last show? So the last show was TechnologyToday. I didn't put the show notes in the chat. So
okay, well, we'll just have to do better.
Let me do that really quick. So if you want the show notes, you can hit bang FWT. So exclamation point FWT. And Omatron will spit the last episode of our show out into the chat. So you get to see all of the links and my titles. They're not the real titles of these articles. We don't go that way. So we aggregate a small little snippet. This is representative of the little snippet that we aggregate. And that usually teases us into going over to the source. Because ohmTown is a news aggregation site that I manage for my own information overload, and then everybody else has been given access to it. So turning a Supersport motorcycle into a penny farthing is a gloriously dumb idea.
I mean, it probably is, but it sounds like it might be entertaining.
Oh, it's entertaining because when I was setting up a lot of stuff is coming from Jalopnik. But they're the one that's surviving attrition, and everything is like consolidating into kind of like the fast food wars. Taco Bell is going to be the winner.
That's right. I forgot what the movie was called. Was a documentary.
Demolition Man. Yeah. So when humanity developed the motorcycle, its greatest achievement to date, it did so on the back of innovation that came before it, much like science does. The first and society, culture, everything stands on the shoulders of giants. So the first motorcycle incorporated what we'd already learned from bicycles, which meant we never had the opportunity to make the same design mistakes as other two-wheelers. Well, Amber De Silva put this article together.
Okay, this already looks kind of unique.
Yeah. So it's a penny farthing with training wheels, mind you.
Okay, and probably not everybody knows what a penny farthing is by name.
Okay. Do you want to describe it?
It's like an old-timey bicycle with a very large front wheel, and then
Tiny little back wheel.
One little back wheel?
One little back wheel, yeah.
I know, I was confused by the picture because this has obviously been modified.
Yeah, this is a Supersport, a Yamaha R6, when you could ride a Yamaha R6 with a 65-inch front wheel. So why ride a boring old Yamaha R6 with a tiny wheel when you can have a penny farthing Supersport motorcycle? Amber De Silva over at jalopnik.com put the article together, and yeah, there you go. But it has training wheels. I've tried to ride a penny farthing before, and I could not do it because you basically have to get a running start and keep on scooting.
Right, and then hope you don't need to stop.
Correct, yeah. So Greg, it says regulations. Oh, goodness. So we never got a penny farthing motorcycle, and that's a tragedy that YouTube engineer Regulations set out to remedy. Greg had a dream that he built the world's fastest penny farthing out of a superbike. He decided to make that dream a reality through careful engineering, less careful error correcting based on mistakes in that initial engineering, and then throwing a whole lot of money at a machine shop to build parts. So there you go. Very what's that? It used to be separate, but it's part of Lego now. The erector
like
set.
Technic?
Yeah, Technic. It's very Technic, right? Like the wheel is a giant motorcycle tire.
Like Technic. Like that picture actually looks like it could have been built from that. Yeah. I know it wasn't.
These little braces here that bring the back tire, a small back tire, down to the bottom. Even the little outrigger wheels seem to be like Technic frames. It's pretty wild. So yeah, they decided to build a full-size Supersport motorcycle into a penny farthing motorcycle.
I would have never connected those two vehicles.
Pretty wild. Yeah, I would never.
Although I will say penny farthings can actually go pretty fast for people that actually know what they're doing.
Yeah, apparently you can. There's races like on velodromes, So Greg learned that a 65-inch steel front wheel is all but impossible to turn, leading him to equip the Super Farthing with what may be the first ever hydraulic power steering on a motorcycle. What? Okay. The hydraulics were already there to lift the training wheels once the rider got going, an idea that immediately proved ill-advised, leaving the pump open to be repurposed. So, yeah, these wheels probably always stay down.
Oh, okay. Which might actually slow it down.
But, well, I mean, it makes it difficult to turn, and I'm really curious.
Right.
I'm really curious how they...
I hope this shows this in action. So for those in the podcast, we're playing a video.
Yeah, and you can go and watch that video too. Yeah, I think the wheels probably stay down. The little outrigger wheels. Oh,
they started off-road. That didn't go too well.
Oh, no. God. That's horrible.
That's the thing that always looked difficult with penny farthings. Wow, that's actually got some speed going in that scene.
Wow. Okay, it's just all kinds of silly. So the seat is at his head height. I don't know how tall he is, but it has a front disc brake. It has a a fabricated QR code license plate on it. Regulations.
And they're using a ladder to get on it. I mean, which fits with it being a penny farthing. But
oh, goodness. So, yeah, it's a full-on motorcycle. Pieces had to be redesigned or cut away to fit accessories not included in the original model. Little luxuries like brake calipers. And the entire rear suspension ended up being scrapped after Greg realized that the rear wheel had enough leverage from its newly designed swing arm to compress the shock with mere acceleration. It's rare to find a bike with too much anti-squat, but here's a perfect example. All right.
Well, this needed to be submitted because we never see anything about penny farthings in the news.
I agree. You know what? There's just not enough penny farthings. Well, we'll see what happens. The future. All right. Let's keep going. The next article is over in FourWheelTech.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Come on, 1823. The next article is over in FourWheelTech. Ever notice those red and yellow dots on your tires? Well, here's what they mean. If you've never noticed them, I'm surprised. Last time you bought a new tire, how closely did you look at it? You probably checked it for size and fit, making sure that its width and profile and wheel size work. Width and profile and wheel size, yeah. Work with your car, but how carefully did you look at the other markings? Did you take notice to the little yellow and red dots? Did you ever wonder what they meant? Well, Amber De Silva takes us for a little drive. The short answer is that it's not there for you, but the long answer is that is the one you're here for. So yellow and dots. So yellow dots are light, red dots are tall. If you're bringing your tires to the shop, you don't need to worry about such things unless you really don't trust your mechanic and want to check their work. Though at that point, maybe just get a new shop. Or hey, maybe this is a chance to take your newfound knowledge and try balancing your own wheels. So give it a shot when you pick up a spare set for winter. So the reason these marks won't matter to the average driver is that the average driver isn't balancing their own wheel and tire packages. They're leaving the job to shops with automatic tire balancing machines, if they're even thinking about it at all. But for those who want to mount and balance at home, start by lining up the tire's yellow dot with the wheel's valve stem. The weight differences likely won't balance out, but you'll be in the better place if you'd put the lightest and heaviest parts of the tire and wheel on opposite sides. Similarly, if there's a low spot on your wheel, that's where the red dot should go. If you've got both, though, the red dot takes precedence. It's easier to make up a weight offset with some tacked on grams than it is to counteract a physical bump in the tire.
I don't know where to go from there. I didn't even know tires had dots on them.
Yeah, so I've noticed the dots, but I thought they were just manufacturing dots. This actually told me what those dots really are. So it's pretty simple. You could probably do a Google search to find this thing out, but it's fun to find it in an article.
Oh, I agree. I like these kind of articles because they're things that might be prevalent in every day, but nobody's thought to ask about them.
Yeah, so apparently the red dot is the outside, okay, wait. What does it go? The dots are there to help the balancing process get started. So the yellow dots are for the wheel's valve stem, and the red dot is for the lowest part on the tire, on the wheel.
Like where it's physically located.
Yeah, where the low part is, yeah. On the tire, of the rubber itself. You know, when you put it on the tire.
Oh, right. I'm not getting into the whole tire versus wheel thing.
Yeah. This right here is the rim. This edge. The whole thing is the wheel, and that is the tire.
Correct.
Okay. Anyway.
You'll have to go back and watch all of our previous episodes to fully understand why we're getting into that here.
That's right. Hot dogs or tacos, too. Anyway, moving on. The next article is over in FourWheelTech. These are the vintage cars you want to EV swap. I don't want to EV swap anything until we have fast swap battery technology. Earlier this week, the author over at Jalopnik had a chance to drive Everetti's EV swapped Porsche 911. And it got them daydreaming about other vintage cars that they would feel would be an excellent candidate for electric powertrains. So they are asking, what would you like? Daniel Golson puts this question out. The readers want everything from pickup trucks to sports cars to get a jolt of electrons.
Could you do hybrid swap?
Yeah, you really could. I mean, if the infrastructure would support it. So the answers range from land barges to sports cars and everything in between. To be honest, they think that nearly any answers could have been valid. There are also so many older cars that they were saddled with bad powertrains or ones that had hard to maintain in the modern era, and EV swap can make an old car much easier to live with, extending their lifespans. But the physics don't allow for battery swaps.
That's true. Plus, there's a lot of people that are, I can't think what the word is, but if it's an old car, they don't necessarily want to have custom, right? They want stock parts or whatever.
That's right. They want stock restoration, not custom restoration.
Right. Thank you. Oh, that's a cool car.
Apparently, Lady Gaga owns one of these. DeLorean. Plymouth Prowler, which I've always liked, but people said that these were junkers.
They look cool though. I wonder
Yeah.
if that's like Fisker Ocean.
Well, I mean, Plymouth had been around for a while. Then
Well,
they,
true. Yeah, it's not like that. Sorry.
yeah, I actually wanted one of these, but never got around to, like, I can't remember what it was. There was some problem with these things, I think it might have been the engine. I'm not sure. Anyway, space is at a premium under the hood for the Hellcat LS swaps, but an EV drivetrain could fit nicely. The same could be said for the DeLorean, says the
So
public.
the drivetrain, it sounds like, is the issue, at least from this snippet.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of this. Even being an electric, it would be great. But again, no fast swap battery tech. I'm not interested. Cord 812. These are all older cars. I don't think that they have the capability of being modified, mainly because the chassis can't support all that weight, and I don't want to drive around in my coffin.
True. Cool looking car though.
It is a cool looking car. The Fiat X1/9. I don't know what that is, but I think it's X19. This looks like a spaceship.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put that one on the list, but.
Or the Toyota MR2.
I don't think of that as vintage, but okay.
Yeah, what year is that from? It doesn't say, huh?
Well, no, I mean the Toyota. Well, that one looks like it's got some time, but it's not as old as some of the other ones we've seen.
1972 to 82.
For the Fiat?
Yeah. It is 1/9, not 19.
Oh, okay. Oh, they do like the Sony
Naming convention.
naming.
Let's throw a random character
It looks
in there.
like in the MR2, it looks like was around like in the 80s, maybe, to start.
Yeah. So then the Studebaker Avanti, GM T400 trucks, basically any truck, I think would be good if you could do, again, fast swap batteries, not the fixed sled, but a Nissan Pike cars. These look like something out of Pixar.
Oh, they absolutely do. They would do very well in the Disney Cars movie.
This one had to have been in it, I think. This one too.
I think the green one was, and maybe the yellow one.
Maybe even
Like,
that one.
actually,
I think these were
those cars.
actually.
I don't mean like that model. I mean like that exact car.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's funny.
Have you ever thought about those though? The cars, like the insides of the car. Like if you open the door,
That's
what do
like,
you see?
well, you shouldn't really be opening those cars because that's like the person, right?
Right, right.
Right. And they don't ever open the doors on any of those.
I don't want to. I'm starting to think about it. Round door Rolls Royce Phantom 1. That's just because, I mean, this is the kind of car that you end up super villain or superhero, that kind of a thing. You know?
Right, it could go either way. But I mean, I do expect cars like this to be suggested for,
Sure.
like,
Very
it's got to be a cool car. We got to basically modernize it.
Something steampunky. Yeah, I like that. Volkswagen Beetle. That's what I learned how to drive stick shift with. Volkswagen Beetle.
And that's definitely a cool car.
Ford Model T, which, come on. Although, what's interesting is the very first electric car was actually in the 1800s.
That's right. Before the Model T.
Yeah, it used chemical batteries, lead acid batteries. And that's all of them. But yeah, the 1925 Model T Touring, the factory block has a crack in the cooling jacket, and unfortunately the company owner drove it without coolant, and EV conversion could make it far easier to drive and could hide battery packs under both seats. Yeah.
By the way, I think that that car that you were talking about was the Flocken Electrowagon, maybe?
Maybe.
I probably totally mispronounced that because it's a German name, but
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see real quick. Yeah, so yeah, that's what it looked like. The one that I saw had its top down, but yeah, it is. I mean, you might as well just say Flock and Electro. I mean, you've kind of Americanized it, but
right. I
18
realized that as I was saying it.
Oh, I was right. 1888. Yeah, there you go. So, okay, let's keep going. The next article is over in FourWheelTech as well. Aston Martin launches 2025 Valkyrie Le Mans program, ending 8-year wait. It's been 8 years since Aston Martin unveiled the road-going Valkyrie. Over the time span, Canadian billionaire Lawrence Stroll bought the British luxury automaker, and its partnership with the hypercar's co-developer Red Bull Advanced Technologies collapsed. Plans to race the hypercar at Le Mans seemingly on hold. Ryan Eric King put the article together. It's the Valkyrie's naturally aspirated V12 engine dropped 300 horsepower to meet LMH regulations. I don't know how they dial in horsepower like that, but okay.
Yeah, I don't either.
Anyway, it has been resurrected in 2023, and the Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR LMH will finally make its competitive debut in Qatar in an 1812 kilometer race. So let's see here. Aston Martin and the Heart of Racing team revealed their full driver lineup in the Valkyrie's 2 liveries for the 2025 season on Tuesday. The factory effort will sport traditional British racing green in the FIA World Endurance Championship and a variation of Thor's Deep Blue in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Whew.
That's a lot going on there.
Yeah, that racing green though is really nice. I really do like that.
It is.
Next car will be racing green. For example, Le Mans hypercar regulations have a maximum horsepower limit of 680 horsepower, while the production Valkyrie 6.5 liter V12 engine produces over 1,000.
Wow.
But it can't go over a speed bump to save anybody's life.
Right, and also I'm not quite sure how you get into it.
Yeah, I don't know. You step on a teleporter and it blips.
You have to like use one of those little sleds or whatever that they use for maintenance, but like to get into the car.
Oh, a creeper, and you slide in from underneath.
Yeah, exactly. Or something like that.
Yeah, you climb in from a pit, and there's a hole in the bottom, and then they weld you in because you're not getting out of that thing.
That might be true.
Wow. Pretty cool. There's the blue one.
Those are both really cool looking.
These look like images, like
renders or whatever.
Yeah. So there's more over at this article. Go over and check it out whenever you get a chance. It's over at jalopnik.com. Aston Martin launches 2025 Valkyrie Le Mans program, finally ending 8-year wait. I know I've been waiting.
I know I was counting down.
I was not. Nope. No. Our last article is over in FourWheelTech as well. No spare, no problem. Here's what every car should carry in case of a flat. Not long ago, virtually every single new car was sold with a spare tire, a jack, and a small toolkit to allow owners to swap out a flat tire for a spare on the side of the road. That has changed over recent years, with many car makers dropping the standard spare tire to cut costs and reduce vehicle weight.
Well, and also, how many people actually know how to change a flat tire anymore?
You know, I'm always kind of astonished by that, because you would think that it would be really freaking easy to deduce from the visible inputs how you're supposed to remove a tire, right? Like, you don't lift your car up and then try to remove the lug nuts. Why? Because when you put the wrench on it to remove your lug nuts, your tire's going to rotate. So you keep your car on the ground, your tire, so it's touching the ground, and you loosen the lug nuts, and then you lift the car up, and then you can loosen them all the way and take your tire off.
Oh, okay. But I don't think everybody realizes that.
And they come to a little wedge, But nobody is really intellectually curious about this kind of stuff unless you're interested in cars, which is why we put the show together so that you could learn about automotive technology.
Right.
And so I encourage you to go and look at your car. And honestly, the only time I've ever had to, oh no, now that I've said something out loud. So one day I was on my way to Vegas and I was rolling down the road in my 6'4", no, so I'm racing down the road and an industrial box of staples fell off the back of a car. And
Like, as it always does.
as one does. And so this long ass road that nobody ever travels down, except everybody travels down. It just happens to be that nobody traveled down it when I was there, except
so
for
you were like the first person to encounter it or something.
yeah. And so here I go racing down the road through these industrial staples, blowing out all 4 of my tires.
Ouch.
It was like Swiss cheese. They became armored by staples, and they weren't like little staples. They were these
right. Large
industrial.
What did it sound like?
You know, thinking back, I don't know. I don't really remember. I think I might have just like stroked it out, you know, just because it was over $2,000 worth of tires.
Wow.
And so, because these were like low profile racing tires, so that not like slicks or anything, but Z-rated tires so that you could actually drive fast with them on tracks and stuff. And so I blew out all 4 of my tires. I had to get towed. That was expensive. I got towed to a shop, and then they're like, hey, you know, your transmission is messed up too. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, I basically got a new transmission and 4 new tires, all at the same time. So it was quite fun.
An expensive jaunt.
I had less to gamble at in Las Vegas. So, and I'm not much of a Las Vegas person anyway. But anyway, not long ago, virtually every new car had a spare tire, but now they're not. So often cars are sold without the spare tire and instead come fitted with run flat tires that can still be driven on for short distances when the tire is completely flat, or they're offered a can of tire sealant and an air compressor that plugs into the 12-volt socket that you can basically charge it up. So they say basic road safety kit, jumpers and tie downs and lift and whatnot. But I think they're saying get a portable air compressor and tire sealant and a pressure gauge and some drinking water because you're going to be picking your nose. And that's it. But everybody should have an emergency kit. Part of their go bag that just sits in the back of the car and you periodically audit. And while I used to sit there and say, you know, you'll never need this kind of stuff, I don't know anymore. You just might need it. Just not to be I'm not a doomsday prepper or anything like that. And I used to sit there and I used to say a lot of things, and I need to just stop saying them.
Right. I mean, you don't want to cause them to to come into existence. I think it would be better to have an emergency kit in your car and never need it than have it be the one time you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have anything.
Yeah. If you're planning on being in this, like for me, I was out in the desert for several hours. The timing was just right where I wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. And there was some amount of reception at that time and people passing by. But for crying out loud, never again. So have some water, have some food there, something shelf stable but still nutritious enough. You know, you can do, tinned fish or, I don't know, something else. If you're a vegetarian or pescatarian or I don't know whatever else. Just bring some food. It looks like they even have vitamins. Medicine.
Yeah, which is interesting because you wouldn't be able to store that long term. But maybe the idea is swap it out occasionally.
Yeah, I don't know. So be prepared, folks. You never know when the fit's going to hit the shan. But that's it. I'm going to compress my air, and that's going to cause me to end up at the front page of FourWheelTech over at ohmtown.com, where you can go and become a citizen. But that's it. We're going to put the pedal to the metal and burn some rubber. Get out of here so you can start your day. All of this will get posted over to YouTube and to the podcasts as soon as possible, hopefully tonight. But mayoral duties might pull me away. I do have a task in short order here. So that's it, folks. I'm taking the AI and we're saying bye. Bye. Go ahead and say bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us for this week's FourWheelTech. We'll have another episode next weekend, but come back tomorrow for regular non sequitur news.
Yep. See you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.